Okay, so, everyone looks up at the stars sometimes, right? And you just have to wonder, like, are we really all alone out here?
It's a pretty fundamental question, one that humans have been asking for, well, pretty much as long as we've been around.
Exactly. And today we're going to dive deep, really deep, into that very question. Like, is Earth special? Is it this one-of-a-kind planet in the entire universe?
And the really cool thing is that for the first time, we actually have the tools and the knowledge to, actually explore this in a scientific way.
Right. I mean, it's not just philosophy anymore. There's real science behind
And
it.
absolutely. We're talking hard data, observations, the real deal.
So to get started, thinking about this whole question of whether Earth is special, we have to think about what makes it so special in the first place.
Well, I mean, the obvious answer is that it's the only place we know of where life exists.
Right. Like, at least for now. But, there are so many planets out there.
Yeah.
Billions and billions of them.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. And we're finding more all the time. I mean, it wasn't that long ago that we thought our own solar system was unique.
Okay, like we thought 8 planets, that's it. That's all there is. But,
No, 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 not even close. It turns out planets are everywhere. Seriously, they're
Huh.
more common than grains of sand on a beach.
okay, wow. That is a lot of planets. And, speaking of planets, one of the biggest things that's changed our understanding of, like, the possibility of life out there is the discovery of exoplanets.
Definitely. Exoplanets, for anyone who doesn't know, are planets that orbit stars outside of our own solar system.
Right. So they're not circling our sun. They're circling other suns,
Yeah.
other stars.
Precisely. And thanks to missions like Kepler and TESS, we've discovered thousands of these exoplanets, and a lot of them are in what's called the habitable zone.
Okay, so can you explain what the habitable zone is? Because I think that's like really important for this whole discussion.
Yeah, absolutely. So the habitable zone is basically the region around a star where the temperature's just right, not too hot, not too cold, for liquid water to exist on the surface of a planet.
So like Goldilocks and the Three Bears, but for planets, right?
Exactly. It's got to be just right. And, water is essential for life as we know it.
Okay, that makes sense. So we've got all these planets, many of them in the habitable zone where liquid water could exist. So, I mean, does that mean that there's probably life out there?
Well, that's the million-dollar question, isn't it? I mean, we don't know for sure, but the sheer number of planets out there suggests that it's at least possible.
Right, but then if it's possible, why haven't we found any evidence of it yet? I mean, that's what's so frustrating. Like, where is everybody?
Yeah, that's the famous Fermi Paradox, right? Named after Enrico Fermi, who is this brilliant physicist.
Oh,
And
yeah, I've heard of that. It's like if the universe is so vast and old and there are so many planets, statistically, there should be other civilizations out there.
right. So where are they? Why haven't we heard from them?
Yeah, it's kind of creepy when you think about it. Like, are we really all alone?
Well, there are a lot of different theories about why we haven't encountered any aliens yet. Maybe interstellar travel is just way harder than we think.
Right. Like, the distances involved are just mind-blowing. Even if we could travel at the speed of light, which we can't, it would still take years, decades, even centuries to reach some of the nearest star systems.
And then there's the energy required for that kind of travel. I mean, it would be astronomical, pun intended.
Yeah, I see what you did there. But, okay, so maybe interstellar travel is just too difficult, or maybe, like, no one's bothered yet.
Right. Maybe alien civilizations just haven't reached the technological level needed for interstellar travel. Or, maybe they just don't have any interest in exploring beyond their own star systems.
So maybe they're just, like, homebodies,
Hmm?
happy to stay on their own planets.
Possibly. I mean, we really have no idea what motivates alien civilizations.
True. But what about those, like, more pessimistic theories?
Yeah.
Like the idea that maybe there's something out there that's preventing civilizations from reaching a certain level of advancement?
You're talking about the Great Filter.
Yeah, the Great Field.
It's a pretty sobering concept. Basically, the idea is that there's some kind of barrier that prevents civilizations from, becoming super advanced and spreading out across the galaxy.
And that barrier could be a lot of things, right?
Oh, yeah, tons of possibilities. I mean, it
Mhm.
could be self-destruction, like a nuclear war, or some kind of ecological catastrophe.
Right, or maybe a pandemic, but like on a galactic scale.
Exactly. Or, it could be something totally different that we haven't even thought of yet.
Yeah, that's kind of scary. But, I mean, it would explain why we haven't met any aliens. Like, maybe they all hit the Great Filter and wiped themselves out.
It's definitely a possibility. And it makes you think, about our own future.
Yeah, for sure. But let's not get too doom and gloom here. There are other possibilities, too. Like, maybe advanced civilizations are out there, but they're deliberately hiding from us.
Oh, the hiding hypothesis. Yeah, that's a popular one. Like maybe they're watching us, studying us, but they don't want to interfere.
Like, we're some kind of cosmic reality show for them.
Maybe. Or, maybe their technology is so advanced that we just don't even recognize it as technology.
Right. Like, imagine trying to explain a smartphone to, like, a caveman.
Exactly. We might be looking for radio signals when they're communicating through, like, some kind of quantum entanglement thing that we haven't even discovered yet.
Okay, so lots of possibilities, lots of theories, but no real answers. So, I mean, can scientists at least make an educated guess about how likely it is that life exists on other planets?
They can, and they do. They use something called the Drake equation, which is basically a formula that takes into account all the different factors that might influence the likelihood of extraterrestrial life.
So, like, what kind of factors?
Well, things like the rate of star formation, the number of stars that have planets, the fraction of those planets that are habitable, the probability that life actually arises on a habitable planet, and so on.
Sounds pretty complicated.
It is, yeah. And there's a lot of uncertainty involved, especially when it comes to the, like, biological factors. Like how likely is it that life actually emerges on a suitable planet?
Right, because we only have one example to go on, Earth.
Exactly. So it's kind of like a cosmic lottery ticket. Even if the odds of winning on any individual ticket are incredibly small, if you sell enough tickets, someone's bound to win eventually.
So basically, the universe is selling a lot of lottery tickets.
Trillions upon trillions of them, yeah. And the draw has been going on for billions of years.
Okay, so maybe it's not a matter of if, but when we find evidence of life beyond Earth.
It's a pretty exciting thought, isn't it? I mean, even if it's just microbial life, it would be revolutionary.
I think so too. But, what if we find intelligent life? Like, what would that mean for humanity?
That's the big question, isn't it? How would we react? How would it change our view of ourselves, our place in the universe?
I mean, would we feel less special knowing that we're not the only ones? Or would it make us feel more connected? Like we're part of some kind of, like, galactic community?
It's hard to say, but I think it would definitely be a profound experience.
Yeah, I think so too. And maybe, just maybe, it would inspire us to take better care of our own planet.
Right, to realize that it really is a rare and precious oasis in the vastness of space.
Okay, so we've covered a lot of ground here, but I think the main takeaway is that while we don't know for sure whether Earth is special or not, the very fact that we can ask this question, that we can explore it scientifically, is pretty amazing.
Absolutely. And who knows what the future holds? Maybe we'll get those answers someday, or maybe we'll just end up with more questions.
Either way, it's a journey worth taking, right? To keep looking up at the stars and wondering.
Could have said it better myself.
So for everyone listening out there, next time you're looking up at the night sky, take a moment to really think about all those planets out there, all those possibilities, and maybe, just maybe, somewhere out there, something is looking back at you, wondering the same thing.
And maybe they're even trying to answer that question.
That's a thought, isn't it?
It is.
All right, well, that's about all the time we have for today's deep dive.
Thanks for having me. This was fun.
Yeah, this was great. And thanks to everyone for listening. Until next time, keep exploring.
Keep wondering.